Right off the bat, let's get one thing crystal clear. An MDT is not a laptop. I mean it. Treating it like one is probably the #1 reason these deployments go completely off the rails. See, a laptop is a tool for one person. An MDT, that's the nerve center of a mobile command unit. And that one fundamental difference changes everything, from the hardware you pick to the security protocols you have to build. So, what is this MDT paradox I keep talking about? Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's the fact that while these devices are as crucial to an officer as their sidearm, the whole process of deploying them is a total minefield of hidden challenges, the kind of stuff your standard IT playbook just isn't built to handle. This image here really just nails the whole paradox, doesn't it? You see the MDT, it's like the glowing heart of the whole operation inside that vehicle, but look at all the things fighting against it. We're not just talking about a bumpy ride. We're talking about constant, high-frequency vibrations that can literally shake components loose. We're not just plugging into a power outlet. We're dealing with a really tight power budget that has to be managed perfectly. And we're not just installing some new app. We're trying to force a brand new piece of hardware to talk to a 20-year-old CAD system. It's a mess. So, let's start with the first and, honestly, the most brutal challenge, the physical gauntlet. Before you even think about writing a single line of code or configuring a VPN, the hardware itself has to survive the absolute war zone that is the inside of a patrol car. This breaks down the 3 big environmental threats you're up against. First, thermal load. A patrol car parked in the summer sun is literally an oven. Your MDT has to handle that extreme heat without throttling performance or just shutting down completely. Second, kinetic stress. Every single pothole, every curb, every sudden stop, it sends a shockwave through that vehicle. The MDT has to be built to just eat that punishment day in and day out. And third, optical clarity. It sounds simple, but if an officer can't read the screen in direct sunlight, the whole thing is basically a useless brick. Let me be completely blunt here. A consumer-grade laptop will not make it in this environment. It's going to overheat, the internal components are going to fail, and the screen will be completely washed out. There's no way around it. You absolutely need a purpose-built, ruggedized device that is specifically designed and tested to withstand these brutal conditions. But you know, even the toughest device in the world can become a huge liability if it's not installed correctly. The cockpit of a patrol car is a very crowded, very high-stakes piece of real estate. You put a mount in the wrong place, and it could block an airbag from deploying. Or worse, it could turn that 5-pound MDT into a lethal projectile in a crash. We're not just talking about comfort and ergonomics here. This is literally a life or death calculation. And then you've got the silent killer of MDT deployments: power. Just look at this graph. A standard laptop will suck a vehicle's battery dry in just a few hours. That's a non-starter. This is why you need a dedicated power management system, something with ignition sensing, delayed shutdown, and a low voltage cutoff. It's the only way to protect the vehicle's battery and make sure the MDT is ready to go the second an officer needs it. Okay, so you've sourced a rugged device, it's mounted safely, and it's got a reliable power source. You're in the clear now, right? Ha, not even close. Now we get to enter the digital gauntlet, where you have to face this 3-headed monster of legacy software, secure networking, and ironclad compliance rules. Now, on the software front, you are fighting a battle on 2 fronts. First up is the integration gap, getting this brand new proprietary hardware to play nice with your department's existing IT infrastructure. It's kind of like trying to connect a new iPhone to a rotary phone. It's a nightmare. And second, you've got the performance burden. That new, shiny MDT has to run a 20-year-old CAD system that was written before most of the officers were born. And that old legacy code, it's an absolute resource hog. So, how do we get data from the field back to the precinct securely? It all starts with a solid cellular connection, but that's just the beginning. Every single packet of data has to be encrypted and then shoved through a hardened VPN tunnel, think IPsec or SSL VPNs, to create a secure, authenticated link back to your network. This is the only way you can guarantee that sensitive data, like criminal histories, is protected from anybody trying to snoop. And this is where the whole idea of zero-trust security comes into play. You have to work from the assumption that your network is already compromised and that every single user and device is a potential threat until proven otherwise. That means you need things like multi-factor authentication, a fingerprint scanner, a smart card to verify the officer's identity before they can get anywhere near sensitive data. It's like a bouncer at a nightclub, right? Just because you're inside the building doesn't mean you get into the VIP section. You gotta prove you belong there. And the reason for all this security paranoia, it comes down to one acronym: CJIS. That's the Criminal Justice Information System. It is the holy grail of law enforcement data. And believe me, the FBI does not mess around when it comes to protecting it. If your MDT deployment isn't 100% CJIS compliant, you're not just risking a fine, you're risking your entire department losing access to the single most critical law enforcement database in the country. The stakes are huge. So you did it. You conquered the physical gauntlet, you navigated the digital one, you have a tough, secure, reliable system. You're done, right? Nope, not so fast. Now you face the final boss of any MDT deployment, the human element. Because if the officers out on the street don't trust and actually use your new system, all of that hard work was for nothing. I mean, this chart just says it all. If your plan is to just hand your officers a manual and say, "Here, go figure it out," you are setting yourself up for complete failure. The only way to get buy-in, especially from veteran officers who are really set in their ways, is through hands-on, scenario-based training that actually shows them how this new tech will make their jobs easier and, more importantly, safer. So how do you get past these human barriers? Well, first, you build trust, be transparent, listen to what they're worried about, and actually involve them in the decision-making process. Second, you've got to address resistance head-on. Don't just dismiss their concerns. Show them how the new system benefits them directly. And third, you have to commit to hands-on training. Get out of the classroom and get into a real patrol car. As an IT pro on this project, you're not just a techie, you're a teacher, a coach, and a change agent. So we've walked through all the chaos: hardware, software, human factors. The big question is, how do you bring order to all of that chaos? How do you actually build a system that works in the real world? The answer is a holistic deployment strategy, one that treats the MDT not as some standalone device, but as one part of a larger, deeply interconnected ecosystem. This slide right here, this is your roadmap to success. Think of it like a three-legged stool. You've got environmental survival, that's your hardware. You've got system integration, that's all your software and networking. And you've got officer experience, that's the human element. If any one of those legs is weak or wobbly, the whole thing just comes crashing down. A true mission-ready deployment only happens when all three of those things are in perfect balance. So how do you get that balance? It's actually a simple three-phase approach. First, you audit. You need to know your environment inside and out. What are your network protocols? What are your power constraints? What are the physical dimensions of your vehicles? Know everything. Second, you pilot. Before you even think about deploying to the whole fleet, you test everything in a single vehicle. Does the VPN connect every time? Does a mount get in the way of the airbag? Does the battery drain too fast? And then third, you roll out. But you don't just flip a switch. You do it in stages, with dedicated, hands-on training at every single step of the way. So here's your homework. The next time you're on a call with a vendor, don't just ask them about processor speed or screen resolution. Ask them these three questions. Number 1, can you guarantee that your device will not thermal throttle in a hot patrol car? 2, can you provide us with crash test data for your mounting solutions in our specific vehicle models? And 3, can you demonstrate a seamless CJIS-compliant VPN connection to our network? If they can't give you a confident yes to all three of those, they're not selling you a solution, they're selling you a problem. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Are you just buying a piece of hardware, or are you building a complete, mission-ready system? Because in the high-stakes world of law enforcement, the difference between those two things can be the difference between success and failure, and sometimes it can even be the difference between life and death. You've got to choose wisely.